Hi there, Cole here. It is time for the Sagittarius new moon oracle blessing, and I'm very excited to get started. I'm going to shuffle and talk a little bit about Sagittarius energy, and hopefully this blessing can support you at the new moon. At the new moon, we want to be setting intentions for things that we want to be calling into our life. And Sagittarius energy really has to do a lot with authenticity, adventure, and a little bit more depth, incorporating your life lessons, your wisdom, your more philosophical side. Everyone, whether you're a Sagittarius or not, has Sagittarius energy in them in some capacity. This is just archetypal energy. Sagittarius in general doesn't like to be told what to do. It is a very free-spirited sign, but not as free from the perspective as like Aries, where it's like that childlike freedom. It's more so a thought for freedom. And yeah, so let's see what the new moon has in store for us. I'm going to choose 3 cards from the Ethereal Visions and see how many come out of the Karma, the Chakra deck, and 1 card from Sacred Rebels. For the Oracle Blessings, I originally had planned on doing them every month for each sign, and I hope to eventually be able to do that again, but I've been a little bit busy lately, which is quite wonderful. I've been teaching a lot of workshops and events and traveling a lot, so I'm going to try to commit to at least doing the new and full moon and start to bring the Reiki shares back as well. Hopefully on Tuesdays I can put out an oracle blessing of some kind, and on Fridays I'll put out a Reiki share of some kind. That's my intention. I'll do my best, and if it happens, we can be happy about it, and if it doesn't happen, it's just not meant to be, and it's no big deal. Okay. So anything else for the Sagittarius new moon? Ooh. I'm not going to take those, but the Tower popped out, and so did the Moon card. So maybe letting go of some grudges, some darker emotions, some upheaval, letting those things purge. Let's see, the Tower might come back out. Nope, King of Swords. Okay. Queen of Swords also, it's at the bottom of the deck. Interesting. Okay. Then from the Chakra Oracle. So these readings are enlightenment, are not predictive in any way. I don't predict the future. I don't believe in that. I believe that there are parallel realities, and at any given moment you can be in any of them based on the energy that you live in, that you're cultivating, that you're aligning with. And my intention when I'm offering these readings is just to help bring you into alignment with the parallel reality that is in alignment with the highest good for all. So, including yourself. So, kind of your best version of life, where you're happiest and most fulfilled, is what I'm trying to tune in with, or what I am tuning in with. Anything else from the chakra deck? Right now I'm in Brooklyn at a friend's apartment. This is not my normal setup. However, I plan on traveling a lot more, and I need to get used to setting up wherever I am, because this is something that I really like to incorporate into my offerings, so that there's an affordable way for people to receive these blessings, and they don't necessarily need to book a session with me. And it's also just fun, to be completely honest. Alright, nothing else from the chakra deck. Oh, Destiny. And then the Sacred Rebels. So what messages do we have for the Sagittarius new moon? I know I said there would be one, but that one was already flipped over. It's also the token card from the deck. So let's see if there's anything else. Yep. And then the back of the deck. Okay, so I just need clarification on one card. I apologize, but not really. This is an offering of love, not to impress you. Intellect, authority, strength, and fairness. Okay, cool. So, what we have here is a the universe is blessing you with confidence at this moment. Basically, the Sagittarius new moon is here to call in your most celebrated version of yourself. We have here the Empress. She's quite beautiful, if you can see her. These cards are a little shiny. Good. And basically what I'm seeing here is to connect with this, the Empress. She's the queen of all queens. So if you're a feminine embodied energy, or if you connect with the feminine, this would be for you to really kind of connect with that higher energy of the feminine, your goddess nature. But if you're not feminine in nature, if you don't connect with the feminine, I don't mean female, but just you have more feminine qualities, you're a little bit softer, more creative, more intuitive, this might be a call for you to try to connect with your more feminine qualities in a way that is compassionate, gentle, soft, beautiful. And there's lots of ways to do this. It can be connecting with nature, it can be, connecting with anything that kind of ignites your more creative, softer side. But a healthy version of that. Basically, the Empress is like the wife, the ideal wife, or the queen of all queens. So connecting with that, and you're being called to connect with that before you communicate anything. You're encouraged to communicate right now with the Sagittarius energy. Sagittarius, I know when I was born, was in the sign of Saturn, and there's a lot to do about communicating. That's why the millennials are so social media savvy and whatnot. I believe I'm not the most I haven't done the most research around Sagittarius energy and Saturn energy, but from what I understand, most of us really connect over this communication card and the authenticity. So basically, I think what is being called right now is for you to really, check in with yourself and ask yourself before you communicate something, is this coming from my higher power? Is this coming from from a really empowered place? Am I really knowing who I am when I'm saying this? Is this necessary? And then also connecting with those softer emotions. Like, is this helpful? Is this needed? Am I being kind? Am I being compassionate? Checking in with that before you communicate, but being encouraged to communicate when you do that. And to do so with intelligence and intellect. We have the King of Swords here. So it's the Empress, the Eight of Wands, and the King of Swords. And then the overall energy of the deck of this reading was the Queen of Swords, which I find is very interesting because she's the complement of the King of Swords. So, these rulers tend to be a little bit more direct and straight to the point and kind of blunt. So I see this as, you want to have that rational thinking, that rational approach to anything that you're communicating, be clear, be direct, but make sure that it's balanced with these softer, more empowered, enlightened emotions. And with that being said, sorry, my computer might just fade out. From the chakra deck, I pulled the Enlightenment card, which is quite interesting, right? So with the Sagittarius energy, it's wise, philosophical energy, right? So you can come off as very free-spirited, like, you're soft, like you're creative, like you're free, all of that, but there's something in the background that's really taking in all the information. It's observing everything, it's noticing it. So try to, when you're communicating at this time, when you're putting yourself out into the world, making sure that you're taking into consideration everything that you know so far, everything that you've learned so far, but also keeping in mind oneness and that whatever you're communicating, seeing the mirror there in the other person, trying to take in multiple perspectives and not get too wrapped up in your own, and keeping this rational approach. I love that they're both here. There's a call for gratitude. I think when you're setting your intentions tomorrow or over the next few days for the new moon, making sure to really tap into the things in your life that you're really grateful for. Maybe call in more of that, because it's a sign as to what really makes you feel good, what is really helpful. And when you're in that energy, it's easier to be in this more enlightened perspective, to really connect with your higher self, to communicate from that place, but while still considering, the information in front of you, the realistic, practical elements of things. From the Sacred Rebels, I pulled Beyond the Mind, the Heart Beats, Big Bold Vision, and free, and the overall energy is free from judgment, free to love. Beyond the Mind, the Heart Beats. I think this is so important for you to understand that it doesn't matter what you think about a situation, your heart is putting out a different energy frequency. And the more you do your work, where you can actually show up as this Empress energy, this Queen of all queens, connecting with the divine goddess, the yin energy of the universe. And I don't mean this to leave anyone out. This is just an energy to connect with. And it's not personal. It's just a very wonderful divine mother energy, and it is beautiful. And please don't eliminate it just to prove a point. Allow yourself to feel into it. It's so comforting, it's so loving, and it's there for you. You are not left out from it in any way. But when you do your practice and you connect with this energy, you are able to listen to your heart and really understand what it is that your heart is actually calling for, the actual intention of the heart, and stop sabotaging it with your mind, with your thoughts and things like that. And also just trusting that your heart is putting out the frequency of what you truly want, and to just keep showing up to your practice, to keep trying to have bigger vision, to keep having this vision, this understanding of multiple perspectives, trying to open yourself up to more than your own perspective a little bit, getting more insight in the present moment. This is going to help you start to move more into this path of authenticity. And when you're feeling more authentic, what you're communicating to the world is going to have more of an impact for everyone. And it can break through to people who might have had their boundaries up, might have been blocking you out in the past, because they might have seen you in a maybe a reverse Empress energy, maybe seeing your more feminine, historically feminine qualities coming out in a toxic way, so toxic emotions, toxic expression, and we don't really want that to be happening at this point. We're moving into the next decade, and we want to be able to really step into our power. The call for big, bold vision, I think it's really staying in this place, and you can really start to move towards your big, bold vision, the thing that you're really, really calling in this lifetime, if you are able to actually be authentic in doing so. So a lot of times we get distracted from, we have an idea of what our vision is, and we start to work towards this, but then we get distracted by how other people are working towards their vision. Then we try to incorporate with them or compete with them and things like that. That is actually it's taking you off path and off authenticity. If you're concerned with competing with other people, you're less likely to be in direct communication with spirit and in this enlightened space. If you're in an enlightened space, you understand that no one is competition, that we're all on the same team. And not only are we all on the same team, but there's just really, it doesn't matter if you're really in your space. There's more than enough to go around, and there's no such thing as competition. The right people will make their way to the right teacher, to the right store, to the right product, whatever it is. But I think even more so, this isn't about your professional life. This is, if you're working through me, this has to do more with your passions in this lifetime and how this can actually cultivate something that can work towards the highest good. And the highest good is our earth being healthy, our people being healthy and fed, the animals being safe and protected, everything thriving and being in a harmonious balance, and the earth not needing to kick us off to find that balance. So we kind of need you to step up and do this higher work right now and use the Sagittarius energy as a catalyst, understanding that if you're in this thriving state where you are feeling really good, your body is thriving, you're doing what makes you super, super happy, you're inspiring people, you're putting out a ripple into the world that says, yes, okay, this is what I have to do. My call here, though, is to make sure that you're doing it from an authentic place so that it isn't hurtful in nature. It's okay if people are in a toxic response to you. That's not your problem, just as long as you're authentic. If you're inauthentic and it's creating a toxic response, that's where we need to be worried, because it's going to make people put their boundaries up a little bit more. If you're in an authentic space and you're coming from a really sweet and enlightened place and there's gratitude there, it will start to move away. If you start to feel some of those toxic emotions coming up, it's a call to practice. It's not a call to tell someone off or anything like that. Practice first. Connect with this divine energy first. Maybe doing a mantra to a goddess or something like that from from India or from any culture, and then you can communicate about whatever is going on. And I think there is some boundary work that needs to happen here, but I think there's a little bit of decreasing the boundaries a bit and letting some people in, but also making sure that you're not in a place where you need to be authentic to do so. So practice is very, very important right now. The overall energy of the reading is destiny and free from judgment, free to love. These things are so important, but they're really a call for yourself. So to stop judging yourself and to just love yourself. When you see someone and you're judging them, just notice, actually, in reality, this is something that you do to yourself. You're judging that person because you judge yourself that way. Stop judging yourself that way, and then you'll be able to more freely love other people, but most importantly, yourself. And this act, this work, is actually moving you more in alignment, with your destiny. Whatever your destiny is, you can choose your destiny. I don't want you to think that there's fate necessarily. Like I said, I believe in that there's, in any given moment, there's infinite possibilities, and you can really align with any of those, and you do on a regular basis from moment to moment. However, you in your heart feel into this higher potential, this bigger thing, and while releasing expectations of how that should look, feeling into it, feeling into whatever that higher energy is that you are trying to cultivate in some way in your life on a regular basis. That's your practice. And don't judge it. Don't try to box it into anything. Just be in this place of like, oh yeah, I love that. I feel that. And that's going to help bring you into this destined place that only you can truly fill. There's something really special about your blueprint, your authentic blueprint, everything that led you to this moment. And when you continue to grow into the version of yourself, the highest potential of yourself, it's good for everyone. A tree being able to grow and actually bloom and everything like that is bringing the right amount of oxygen and everything into our atmosphere. The flowers blooming it's helping the bees, and the bees are helping everything. Being able to actually move into its highest potential is incredibly helpful. Right now we have, sorry, my I wonder why this does this. Right now we have a lot of people in a place in their lives where they're trying to be carbon copies of a bunch of other people, and they're being told what they want. They're being told what to do. They're being told what matters, what their goals should be. This is not helping the earth because we're not living up to our destiny. We have our own blueprint. We have our own potential. We have our own oak tree that we're supposed to grow into. But instead, we're being kind of genetically modified to all be a certain way, to look like a prototype, so that all the apples are the perfect color, da 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 da. You don't want to be genetically modified. This is just a metaphor. You know what I mean. But see if you can try and be, a rare fruit, be a rare flower, be something very authentically special that does not fit a mold. And this is your destiny. When you're in that state, it's not being necessarily a punk rocker that's not helping society in any way. Nothing wrong with punk rockers. That's not what I mean. I don't mean just be defiant for the purpose of being defiant, but really finding out what it is in your heart that beats, that you're passionate about, that you truly just light up about, and understand that by you really working towards that and tapping into that on a regular basis, you're helping to save the world. It's a big deal. So let your intentions that you set this new moon be more around the line of the state of being that you suspect that you want to live in, and trust that tapping into that state of being, that feeling on a regular basis, is serving the highest good. It is not saying that you are to ignore the problems of the world, but by you being in this state on a regular basis, you can respond to the problems of the world in a more enlightened and intellectual way, because you're going to be tapped into something higher than yourself, to a more enlightened perspective, your higher self, the divine feminine, who truly, this energy truly needs to be in our culture. It truly needs to be in our lives in a regular way. And a big part of this happening is by us relaxing, taking time to meditate, taking a step back from responding, and really just getting to know ourselves in a deeper way. Not the thought version of yourself, but the sweet and tender, honest version of yourself. Okay? If you ever need any support with learning how to meditate or relax, that's kind of what I do for a living, so I'd love to support you in any way with that. I will continue to make these videos on a somewhat regular basis. I'll do my best. My intention, again, is not to predict your future. I have no interest in predicting your future. I'm just here to help support you in moving in the direction toward the highest good of all. Thank you so much, and have the most amazing Sagittarius new moon, and namaste.